We are gathered here today in sight of God and man for the express purpose of looking back on the life of a dear friend of ours whose time to meet the Lord came far too early. Brother Kogan, will you open us up with the benediction?
I love how southern you just kept getting as it went on.
Our gracious Heavenly Gibson.
It's like molasses dripping out of your mouth.
Dear Heavenly Fender, we come to you today.
Oh, man. Well, it's been so long since we taped the episode, I forgot how we do it. Do we have intro music before, or is that after we talk?
Normally,
it's outro.
It's
after.
So we have before, which is right away.
And then we talk. And then we play outro.
Yeah. I think this one, though, but this is not an episode as much as it's a funeral for a friend.
Amen, brother.
We're here to honor the life of...
and the love.
And the love that we've shared with our good friend Rotator.
The pedal party.
The pedal party.
I'm Kogan.
And I'm Chance.
And if this is your first time listening to us,
back up.
We've got a catalog of, I don't know,
20-something,
almost 30 maybe episodes about guitar pedals.
About guitar pedals.
Guitar gear, really, honestly.
Yeah. And listening to this is kind of going to be a spoiler. It dies. It dies.
At the end.
At the end, it dies. But no, so we've had a good time doing the show.
The best of times.
The best of times. And then we kept trying to convince ourselves that with some new changes in life that we were going to figure out how to make this still work. And we kept going like, hey, guys, we're back. I think we had 3 or 4 episodes where like Rotator's back. And then it would be 2 months and nothing would happen.
They'd be like, what in the world?
Yeah.
So instead of keeping everybody in the dark, it just kind of makes sense for us to go on sabbatical a little bit.
Yeah.
Until we get better at guitar, and then we'll come back and shred. Really, that's what it is.
Yeah, Kogan's going to give me lessons, so I'm going to give him lessons.
Yeah. Which is perfect, because then I'll learn how to shred and you'll learn how to tune your guitar, and we'll be good to go.
Shots fired.
I was saying that because you were playing my Strat earlier, which has the worst tuning problems of all time.
Oh my gosh.
Not to mention it's been like 100% humidity here for a week out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Plus the ice last week. Oh, it's just crazy.
Man. So
anyways,
I only think that it would be appropriate for us to take a moment and get a little bit introspective, a little bit retrospective.
We also have a slideshow that we're going to watch.
We have a slideshow that we're going to watch,
but nobody else will see it.
No one else will see. We'll have some music in there though, so we'll post the audio for the slideshow. Kogan,
I'm going to get my notes out that I didn't make.
Okay. So something that I have to ask you. My grandma makes us do this every birthday. Or, yeah, every birthday, every Thanksgiving, is we all have to sit in a circle. And if it's my Papa's birthday, we all have to share a fun story about Papa.
Okay.
So this is not a birthday, but I'm going to treat it like that. Kogan, what are some of your fondest memories about our dead podcast?
Well, I think one thing that is a very fond memory is the two of us, have had, I would say, probably close to 100,000 ideas between the two of us that never came to fruition. And this was the first one that we actually did something.
Yeah.
Instead of just having a good idea and not doing anything about it.
Yeah. So this podcast was started after literally years of pitching each other ideas for podcasts. We recorded, so there was the first podcast we ever started to record was called Camp Hope Hole.
Yes.
We recorded like 3 episodes, had some guest stars and everything.
I don't even remember what it was supposed to be about, though.
So here was the premise of that one. And we're never going to put out the audio. Don't ask.
Yeah.
The premise of it was, let's find problems and just dwell on them. So with
which is
the
a horrible
idea. So the idea was, we're not optimistic. We're pessimistically realistic, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
And we had segments where we would get on Craigslist and read like missed connections ads.
Oh.
We would call friends who were like area experts in a problem. We called my friend Casey from Indiana and asked her about Hanukkah.
Oh, yeah,
we called Matt Northam. We called and she gave us like 15 20 minutes worth of solid information about like Jewish culture. We talked to Matt Northam. I forget what we talked to him about. Probably something about the guitar.
Yeah, because he's made some appearances on
I don't think he has.
I don't think he has. He should have.
Yeah, but he was just like, yeah, well, I didn't know you were going to call me, so I don't know what to say. Oh, yeah, so that was a segment we had, was calling random friends for an interview.
That's what it was.
We had a segment.
Still like that idea, though.
I still like that idea, where that might come up in future versions of our show once we have more time. Let's see here. I'm just trying to think of other things we did in that pocket. We drank a lot of Dr. Peppers.
Oh, yeah. Always. Love Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. Dang. So that was that show.
Yeah.
The next idea...
I don't think it never aired either. It was just very preliminary.
Yeah. We have clips of it that, and once again, never...
I'm going to find those today and listen to them because they sound hilarious.
In private and never share them.
Oh, yeah.
The next idea we had was Rotator version 1. Or, well, not the next idea, but the next thing we did.
Yes, the next thing we actually did.
Rotator version 1, which was we were going to be experts in a different thing every week. Like a rotating thing. Episodes we
what
recorded
episodes did we
were
record? Cooking?
Underwear. Potatoes. The gastrointestinal tract. I want to say we had one more and some other unspeakable things.
Yeah, who knows what they were. Probably
and horrible. It was just all
so bad.
Until we finally had an idea that I can't believe it took us so long to come up with, because whenever Kogan and I would hang out back then, it was literally we would just turn on the TV and watch YouTube demos of pedals the whole time. So anyway, I think one of my fondest memories of this podcast is there's probably I'd say a 1-to-3 ratio of 1 being the time we spend working on the show and 3 being the amount of time we spend just chilling.
Oh, yeah. That's the best.
That's the best part. It's just an excuse to hang out.
Yeah, 100%. As all good ideas should be.
Yeah.
In projects that you work on. Because you always, that's even in the context of playing music. Mm-hmm. I think we've talked about this on the show before. Nobody tells you that being in a band is like 90% driving and unloading and just being around these people, and like 10% playing music. Mm-hmm. And so it's like that's such an important thing. It's like doing work with the people you like to do work with.
Right.
Because the work always takes a back seat to the hang.
I think so. We've seen that historically, that really talented people come together who do not mesh as people or have not invested themselves, emotionally into maturing to where they can, mesh with everybody else well.
Yeah, exactly.
And then all these big famous bands that,
and they make
all
great
this
music,
drama, and they do it right. So
their relationship suffers.
Yeah, and that's a thing that I got some advice from older people early on when I was kind of trying to like be a player in Oklahoma City, and like really trying to be a player and wanting to try to be really cool. And someone, I forget who it was, I probably heard it from a few people, but they just said, hey, most of what we're doing is just chilling. And you don't need to let us know anything about your skills. If we just hang out and you can play the parts, then you'll have
you'll
work
get
to
called
do.
for everything.
Yeah.
So true. That's great advice.
so
That's
true.
free. That's on the house.
And that has nothing to do with pedals.
No, that's actually everything in life.
That's the whole
Whatever
thing.
your work is.
Yep.
I will say, I'm very thankful for the opportunity to do this because I feel like my ear is more tuned
my
now
word.
than it ever has been.
Absolutely.
Just from us really diving into the details of all of these sounds and like, 10 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to tell you the difference between a tube screamer and a tube screamer clone.
Yeah.
But I feel like now I can really hear those subtleties, and hopefully the listeners can too. And that if we were thorough enough with our
Yeah.
demos, which most of them were way too thorough.
Yeah. And I think so. Part of that is, gosh, and I forget who this was, Piaget or like one of the psychologist dudes.
Oh yeah.
And like there's a debate on whether our thoughts shape our language or if our language shapes our thoughts. And I think an experience of mine with the show is learning the vocabulary helps me understand what I'm actually thinking. And so I'm able to, sag, compression,
Oh, totally.
square, fuzz, spatter, grit, dirt, all these things that so I now have the vocabulary because like maybe when I was in high school, I knew that there was a difference in these two things, but for the life of me, how do I
talk about it?
Talk about it, and how do I tell somebody, no, I don't want that sound, I want this sound in a practical way, right? And so now it's like I think we've both gotten to the point way too deep, and
so deep.
So that brings me to one of my favorite moments.
Segue.
Which I have so many, gosh, but one of my, I think the height of our like meta analysis of tone was when we compared two identical pedals, the Brat and the Roadkill, on the exact settings, that they have the exact same guts.
Yeah.
And I think the treble's just a little bit more bitey here, but then when you turn it here, and it just was like, that's
about as deep as it gets.
That's as deep as it gets.
Because we're essentially analyzing the aging of components.
Right.
And they're the same components.
Yep.
In different boxes. That was a great episode too. I enjoyed that.
I think it sounded good with the Vibro.
Did we do a giveaway
Lux.
with one of those? Or we talked about it?
We talked about doing a giveaway.
What did we do?
Or did
we do a giveaway with one? Or with something else?
Do you still have the Brat?
I don't know.
Or did we give it away?
I can't remember.
So with my Roadkill, my father-in-law, which we never got to have him on the show. Sorry, Dr. Joe.
Maybe next year.
Maybe next year.
When we start back up.
So I gave him my Roadkill. He dissected it. He put in a light, a regular power supply port.
Nice.
And then he built me a clone. So now I have a smaller one that...
Is it like in a normal size box instead of a...
Yeah.
And those boxes are impossible to take apart.
They're possible to take apart. They're made of the cheapest grade plastic that you can find.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just going to pull up my notes right quick, and we can go back through some of my favorite moments. The thing I think tops it for me, and it completely separated us from what we were just talking about, the technical aspect, and into the first thing we talked about was just us just hanging out, which was when we did the Julia soundtrack for a movie, like a horror movie. Because then it didn't matter what we had on the board. It was just whatever it was. I can't actually tell you what it was, but
and it's funny you say that. It doesn't matter what you have on the board. That's another thing that I think we've both realized even more is how it can be the same pedal, and it will sound totally different when I use it, totally different when you use it.
Right. Because
so much of it is in the fingers, and even in the style and in the way that you input your your body onto the instrument.
Yeah.
And your
Approach
fingers.
is like 80-90%
Yeah.
of it.
And all of the, and once you understand a language and all of these different things of these characters of sound, specifically guitar pedals or like overdrives, then it's like, okay, I gravitate towards this sound, but I understand it so much I can make any pedal kind of get in this neighborhood and not just like, oh, this is a distortion pedal, I can never use this. You know what I mean? Like, you can run things. And I feel like for me, that's been a big part of the show, is like discovering all of that stuff about my own style and my own playing.
Definitely true, yeah.
And this is what I love. And not to mention how much gear we've gone through
My word.
in like the last year.
Yeah.
When I look at my rig now, it is completely different.
Mine too.
Everything about it is 100% different than it was previously.
So what's crazy is my pedal board has probably reduced in size to a quarter of what it was.
Well, I feel like your pedal board was small and then normal and then massive and then now it's small again.
Yeah, so for years, Kogan and I were in almost the same boat. And I did bring this up on a previous podcast when we got the dig out. But for years, it was one type of boost pedal, a delay pedal, reverb on an amp, or maybe a reverb,
like small reverb pedal,
like
nothing
small,
crazy.
Simple verb. And, for worship style music, maybe like a volume pedal. And it's pretty much it. For a long time. And then I think what was fun about it is I don't think we were ever seriously trying to reach an end game with pedals. We're not trying, like, our goal was to never kill the animal. It was just to hunt it.
Yeah.
And
catch and release.
Exactly. That chase was what was so fun.
Yeah, and it still is.
It still is.
Because it's still like, I saw something, what did I see the other day? Oh, those new, like, Milkman pedal. It's like a amp in a box that sits on your pedal board. Have you seen those? I forget what they're called. And I was watching a demo of it, and I was just like, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. Do I need one of those? I might need one of those. I don't know. But you know what I mean? Like, there's always still these little things where you're like.
And so I had listened back on a few of our episodes in part to kind of inspire my notes for this one. And what's so crazy is what you had just said about it's just us. It's always us playing and our sound. And at the end of the day, we can detect all of these crazy little subtleties. But when you're just passively listening, it's almost all so close to the same sound. No matter what. Whether we were going through the Bandmaster, an AC30, a Marshall.
Oh yeah, it's so close.
It was different, but it was so close because it's still, for whatever reason, it's just like my sweet spot on every drive pedal. I naturally, without thinking, I'm going to dial it in to plus or minus 10% of the exact same sound or the same style of sound or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just crazy how that works.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we tried really hard to go through a bunch of sounds instead of just getting to like, oh, this is how I would use it. This is the only thing this pedal's good for. And getting crazy sounds and turning everything all the way up.
All the way up. One thing I learned also is, speaking of like the differences in sound, is not always, but on average, you kind of get what you pay for.
Yeah.
I'd say a great example of that is the Bayang Tube Screamer versus the Veil, where you can get the exact same, or a really close up and down noon sound, but the full sweep of the pedal.
Yeah, both pedals, neither one is better or worse than the other one. But if you have more options.
Exactly. More usability.
The boutique pedal versus the mass-produced Bayang pedal.
Yeah. And I think that was true. So of the Bad Monkey, good sound, the whole sweep of it wasn't 100% pleasant all the time, but could we get through it? Yes. Also, something I learned. The bass sounds really good through a guitar amp. Maybe better than a guitar. Also, all these pedals that were built for the guitar normally sound better on the bass.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking that bass is better than guitar.
That was
the
the conclusion I was coming to, is the bass is the perfected version of the electric guitar. It's the electric bass. And let's see. So when we first started, what amps did you have? What were we using? I'm trying to think. I think I had my 30, and I think I got the Vibralex after we had started.
Yes, you did.
I think I had the Marshall, but it wasn't like
Usable yet?
usable until after we started.
So the first few episodes we used the Bandmaster.
Okay, is that the same one you got in that lot of vintage Fenders?
No,
you got the
that
Basement
one
and the Showman
earlier.
together.
Yeah, and then I got the Bandmaster. I traded a Fender Supersonic 22.
Oh, that's right. I love that amp.
Combo for it. It was great. Something about it. There was some kind of weird. I swear to you, nobody else could detect it, but there was like a 1/100th of a millisecond delay in my playing. Something about the switch on it, the green versus red, like the voicing switch between Basement and Vibrolux or whatever it is. Something about that was off.
Huh.
And when you run ears, you detect every single bit of that latency.
Yeah.
And it drove me crazy.
Just didn't feel right.
Did not feel right. And maybe if I didn't know any better, then I would have liked it. But I had gotten all in my head about stuff. I couldn't take it. Anyway, I had that. The other two Fenders, which never made an appearance because they just constantly were needing work.
Oh, yeah.
Because someone in OKC who works on old Fenders does not know what he is doing. Someone on the south side. That's all I'm going to say.
Yep. That's so funny.
Let's see here. But I had a Hughes and Kettner Statesman at one point during the show.
Oh, that's right.
I had a Blues Junior during the show.
Was there one more? I feel like there was one that was kind of like an oddball.
We used Jared's Jared's Stulse.
Oh, the Stulse. Yeah.
Which the Jared I am going to get to you later in the special things portion. We actually might call Jared and see if he can do a closing prayer.
Oh, that'd be perfect.
Because he's a minister.
So. It's been fun to see. I think because that box is full of pedals, I think I still have everything.
I've sold a ton of stuff
that we've done.
Just to be honest.
Afraid now that we are going on a sabbatical, maybe I'll sell some stuff. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe I'll just keep it in there.
Yeah.
I like to wait until I'm about to be on the street and living in a cardboard box before I sell my stuff.
So, guitars.
Oh, now the guitars have changed.
Let's just do
The guitars have changed a lot.
Let's do a confession, because the truth is I've sold a lot of stuff. I've made some pretty big movements in my rig. All right. Yeah. So for one, I went from a Pedal Train 3 down to
you had a 3.
I had a 3,
the big one.
Down to a Metro. And
I love the Metros.
It's the perfect size.
Yeah, it really is.
Soft case.
And it's all just right there.
Right there. So at one point, I had like 6 drives on my board and multiple delays and all that stuff. And it just came down to the fact that I was still sounding like me, kind of regardless of what I was using. Mm-hmm. And it was, I don't know if, can I say masturbatory?
Yeah.
It was self-serving.
Self-servicing.
So for example, to switch between the Cattle and Bread SFT to the Night OD.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of mid-frequency difference. But
you're using them in the same way, so
I was using them in the same way. The M Drive versus the Cattle and Bread Chile Picoso Boost, I pretty much was using those in the same way. Just, it was the difference in Bluebell French vanilla and Bluebell homemade vanilla.
Now hold on. I feel like this is a bad analogy
Okay.
because for me, that's night and day difference.
Okay, then maybe it was the difference in
But it could be chocolate and Dutch
Blue-
chocolate. I wouldn't know the
then
difference.
like Bluebell and Blue Bunny.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
Right? And if it barely makes a difference in my ears,
If it barely
where
makes a
it's
difference to you,
to me, and it's pounding in my ears, then it's not going to make that big of a
nobody's
difference.
going to hear it. Oh.
And functionally, it's like I'm sick of carrying around this hard flight case that is built to withstand a nuclear attack.
It's massive.
It was so big.
And that case weighed like 40 pounds by itself. Maybe more.
My gosh, when I shipped it
Empty.
off, I paid so much money to ship it. I never charge enough on Reverb for shipping.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
found.
Me neither.
Okay.
Nobody does.
Nobody does. It's just that's just part of it.
It's like an unspoken agreement in the music community.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody's going to take a hit when they sell something and ship it, so let's just
deal with it.
not go crazy with the shipping costs.
So, but basically, what I'm running now on my pedal board is tuner. I have the SFT from Cattle and Bread. I have which is the longest thing I've owned. It's my favorite pedal.
Oh, yeah.
I have the
Oh, yeah, because you've had that since I've known you.
Yep.
So longer than that, probably.
It's the only pedal I've had that I've sent in for repair.
Really?
Yeah.
I have
Not to Cattle and Bread, but to Michael Blakemore.
I have that Jekyll Hyde still that
Yeah.
I've had probably since I was 19, and I sent it in to get repaired like 2 years ago, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And since I've had it, the company has changed names. I don't know if they changed ownership. And all their pedals are different now, but they still fixed it for free, sent it
No
back to me.
way,
It cost
really?
me nothing.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Talk about customer service.
I was like, man, True Tone is now
yeah,
what used to
Visual
be Visual
Sound.
Sound. Yeah, love their stuff still.
man. So I have the SFT. I have a what's that? It's not McKellar, but it's like a small. They make those small pedals. Anyway,
Joya, not Joya.
no, it's a little bit higher than that. But I have their compressor Maleko.
Oh, Maleko. Yeah.
I have the 87 LPD.
Oh, one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah,
One
mine
of
too.
my favorite pedals
One
that
of the
we
best
ever touched.
sounding pedals.
Unbelievable.
Which we do need to go back and do our best and our favorites. Okay. The DD20.
Classic.
Come at me, bro. It's a good pedal. The Hall of Fame
The
1.
DD20 is the 90s Honda Accord of pedals.
300,000 miles.
It just
no
works.
problems, man. Yeah.
It will get you wherever you want to go.
In the Hall of Fame, and I have a Boss Super Chorus, which is what it is.
It's a classic. It sounds like chorus.
Yep.
The okay, so you want to do best of, or what?
I could ask you about your pedalboard setup, because we've never actually said what we have on our boards.
Oh, we haven't. Okay.
We always tease to like a Patreon bonus episode.
Which is not
Never
going to
got
happen,
there.
I guess.
Yep.
Maybe what if we just kill the public podcast, but then the podcast is all private.
99
now,
cents a piece.
Paid for, yes. If you want to, 99 cents a listen. No
Yep.
download available.
No download.
Must stream. The let's see. So I've go guitar into SP compressor into a tuner. I don't know why it's set up that way, but I just love the way it sounds, so I'm not going to change it. Then we go out. Actually, I'm just going to have to unzip it. Let's see.
Heyo. Unzip it, Kogan.
Unzip it. Actually, I said that backwards. Okay, so
Cut.
cut.
Don't fall over.
So my guitar runs into the Archer, the Archer Icon, the gold one, and then into the tuner, and then into the SP compressor. Those,
Blasphemy. But if it works.
the Archer and the compressor are always on.
Okay.
Well, except I will turn down the compressor significantly, the blend knob on it, if I'm running something with humbuckers in it. because I'm not crazy about a super compressed humbucker sound. But been playing the
Yeah.
telly a lot lately,
True.
so it stays
Yep.
pretty dimed on the compression. Then we go to the Crayon, the EHX Crayon.
We never got to that episode, did we?
Did we not?
Maybe we recorded one. I thought we had.
I can't remember. Maybe I don't think we ever did record it because I don't think we pulled it off. But
Dang.
take my word for it. $40.
We played
or
with it for like an hour and a
$50,
half, so-
it sounds amazing. And then into the Veil, which after we taped the episode,
You bought
I
it.
bought it. And then into the Marvel Drive, which was one of those pedals. I remember the night we watched a demo of it, and I bought one sitting there. I was like, bye. And then that goes out into the Dig, and then stereo out of that into the Timeline, stereo out of that into the GFI Systems Specular Tempest. And then stereo. If I can't play stereo, I'm like, I don't even know if I want to play anymore. I just love stereo. So that's been my rig pretty consistently for a while. Before I got the Specular Tempest, I was running a Hall of Fame, which I still love. And that's actually, we did like a fly date recently, and I just took tuner, Jekyll Hyde, Dig, and the Hall of Fame. Sounded great. Into like an AC-15. And it's like,
Yep.
What a great sound.
I did that exact same fly date a year or two before, and that same thing. I put the SFT and the DD20 and the Hall of Fame in my backpack.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not going to take all this stuff out there.
And it sounded amazing.
Did you play that Les Paul? Was that out there?
No, I flew with my SG that I had. Why I flew with a set neck guitar, I don't know.
Yeah,
I just did it.
so I got there, and they have a studio Les Paul. Guess what color it is?
White.
Nope, it's the other one. The
Black.
red one.
The red?
Yeah. have you
Like a
seen
wine
that?
red?
Yeah.
Oh, those are pretty cool.
I hate that color so much.
Really?
Oh, man. I don't know what it is. It's like,
Gold hardware?
no. It's just like a stained
Oh, wait.
red color.
The like faded red?
Yes.
Or, okay. Yeah, I hate
But not the SG ones, like just whatever that color is
Yeah.
in the Les Paul studio. I don't know why they made that color. I'm not crazy about it. So I took a bag full of guitar, like,
accoutrement.
yeah. So I got there and immediately took the strings off, cranked the truss rod, put new strings on, got everything. Well, obviously I put strings on before I adjusted the truss rod. Don't be jumping on me.
Yeah.
And I tell you what is the best. I don't know if we've ever talked about this.
Not one
I wish
time.
we would have got a sponsorship. Dr. Duck Axe Wax. It is I've had the same bottle for like 7 years, and it's like only a third of the way gone.
We've never even talked about this.
We haven't.
Not one time.
Oh my gosh! I'm gonna have
In
to get it
all
out
of our
and show
friendship.
you. You have to start using this stuff. So I use it on all my guitars, and it's like a oil,
Yeah.
and especially on like those faded guitars. You know, if you
It's
don't,
really porous.
yeah, if you
yeah,
don't
it's a
take
lot of
care of
open.
it, especially, and this is all necks are usually pretty porous, unless you have like a Japanese Fender or something like that that's just like caked on, lacquered up. And so it really, especially as the seasons change, will help your guitar maintain the same integrity as far
Yeah.
as the absorption of water or oil. But I can tell, so like on my guitars now, so I've been using that stuff for a while, and I'll just get some on there, rub it everywhere, buff it out, let it soak in, do another coat if it's like really needs some work on it. But I can tell on my guitars now, on the neck, I can feel the strings start to get very like scratchy on the frets.
Right.
And I put that stuff on there, and it is just smooth. Oh, it's amazing. It's the best stuff ever.
Wow.
Anyways, I don't know how we got on that tangent, but took that thing out there and I put like 4 coats of that on that Les Paul because I don't think it had been touched ever.
It's an outdoor gig at the foot of Pikes Peak.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to need some conditioning.
Oh, yeah, that thing was just dry as a bone. It changed colors after I finished oiling it up. But after that, actually played pretty well. I was impressed. I just, I like my 9s. I can't get over it.
Yeah, buddy.
Those Cobalt 9s are the best.
It's like you put on, 9s are like you put on a cheat code.
Oh, yeah. It's like,
why was I not?
Guitar's not that hard after all.
Why did I have this ethical opposition to the easy way when I was 15?
Why do I have an ethical opposition to the gauge of a string?
Right.
To something that doesn't matter.
No.
Anyways, so that's my rig, and I've got a box that's full of all those pedals that we've done stuff with, or just random pedals that have, and you never know. You doing studio stuff, you're like,
yeah,
I need this sound.
I know.
I need the Bad Monkey.
And I spent a whole hour and a half or so obsessed with one item. All right, so we've talked about just kind of quickly, and we might not keep this, but the Luminary with the fuzz face.
Oh,
that was unbelievably fun.
They should make a combo pedal that has all of
right?
that in there.
Let's see here.
That was Walrus Audio, right? And
yeah,
the Dunlop fuzz face.
So
the OG fuzz face.
Yeah. I have a list of some of my favorite pedals that we did. Just going to go through them very quickly.
Okay.
The Archer Icon that you had.
Amazing.
Which was every bit as good as the original clone we had in episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
If not, maybe a little bit more usable as far as like frequency sweeping. And for the money. Wow.
Yeah, oh yeah.
The Marvel Drive, which we've already talked about.
Amazing.
Unbelievable. And also, no, I'll get to that part later. The Expandora.
Oh.
That's just a different experience altogether.
Yeah. I've never heard anything like that.
No. Let's see here. I don't know if we ever told the story about the Brat versus Roadkill night, where this is the only episode we did where I had moved and we put the amp in a shed in the backyard. We ran XLR cables from the garage to the shed.
Yeah.
And we recorded this episode. We went back out there late that night.
It's like springtime.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. And we hear, like, we're just sitting there on the back porch, and we hear this lady from somewhere.
We have no idea.
There's a privacy fence. We're not sure. And, like, what did she first say?
She's like, y'all want to have a guitar battle?
That's what she said. But she didn't say it like, hey, y'all. She's like, y'all want to have a guitar battle?
Yeah.
And we both were like,
and so I don't even think we really heard, we just heard like guitar battle and we're like, did you hear that?
And we're like dead silent. Did you guys hear me? Do you want to have a guitar battle? And I'm just like, is it the cops? Is this all a big ploy? Is the CIA here? Is it a squirrel?
What is this?
Is it a squirtle? Turns out just my neighbor wanted her boyfriend to challenge us to a guitar battle. We ended up hanging out with him for a bit. And he
cool dude.
Showed us his instrument. He had an SG.
Got a new SG.
Nice guy. Anyway, that was a
fun night.
Moment. The Julia night was the first time we did stereo. That was just a lot of fun. Oh, we talked about that.
Yeah, genius.
I'm trying to go through my notes.
Of all the
385 was amazing. The LPD 87, we already said, this is one of the best pedals I've ever played.
That one, because I think that was really one of the first pedals that we had done with somebody that we that we started a relationship with because of the podcast.
Yeah, that was purely just based on the podcast.
Yeah, and Lawrence Petros designs like his stuff. I was watching a video of I wish I could remember what the name of it is. There's like a newer one, or maybe it's the double LPD or the double 87.
He's been working on some stuff that just
all his stuff
insane.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah,
they all do.
Yeah. Speaking of people who had reached out to us with the podcast, didn't the was it? I'm gonna have to look up his name to be sure, but I think it's Tim from Ramble Effects.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that Tim?
Yeah, Tim.
Yeah. He had. I don't know if we ever talked about it because I don't think we could at the time because the pedal wasn't out. But we.
Is it out now?
It's at least been announced.
Oh, okay.
But he asked us if we wanted to do a beta test of the Kismet. And so he sent us like an early version, and we did an episode just for him. We can put that
available
out
soon.
Yeah, maybe someday we'll put that episode out as like a.
Dang, this thing is affordable too.
What's the price?
$250.
Really?
Yeah.
For like 4 bankable.
Yeah, and it's MIDI
analog drive plus MIDI. Yeah, it's crazy all the control. But anyway, so that was cool to have someone kind of validate what we were doing with LPD, with
Ramble,
and with Lollygagger.
Yeah, totally.
To the Canalia was one of my favorite pedals we've ever done.
That one blew me away.
Everything from like the Bubinga wood or whatever it is, the wood grain.
Bubinga.
And the controls are different from any other. It's just so cool.
Yeah, it really was. And that was a very unique design that paid off because it sounded so amp-like.
Exactly.
Even in the responsiveness of the unit. That was cool. And that was a really fun thing about the podcast. And I think that it was nice to have some of that validation from the community of like, oh, okay, these guys are doing something. Like, let's partner together and talk about this great gear.
Yeah.
And which is always, that was the whole thing with the podcast, is like, we want people to think about these things and also showcase like, here is great pedals or great, effects, or even amps. We've talked so much about guitars and amps, and like sounds, and like really is just like half the battle is being able to think about like, oh, this, I don't like this sound because XYZ, and understanding that, right?
Yeah.
The one of my favorite episodes that we did was the what's the Digitech one that you just said? The Bad Monkey.
The Bad Monkey.
Because that was a great example of us sitting down with a pedal. We're twisting knobs. We're like, I don't know, this thing just doesn't really sound good, but we're trying to be nice talking about it. And then we like learn the trick where it's just like leave the bass dimed the whole time. Or because it's bass treble drive volume. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh my gosh, this thing sounds amazing. You know what I mean? And it's like so fun to discover those little things where it's like, they don't tell you that in the manual. It doesn't say leave the bass turned all the way up all the time and everything will sound good. But that was one of those, and it's like $20 pedal. You know what I mean? Or 40, or I don't know what they cost now. But those are the moments I always love so much, was like the discovery of, oh, this is how this, like, these are the quirks of this little thing. And every piece of gear has that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like, I remember the first time I read about the Edge's Vox AC30 settings, where he basically just sets everything at 2 o'clock and then turns the volume up to like 1 o'clock. And it's like, that's the sound. I was like, oh, people actually use the cut knob? That's wild.
Yep.
So those are some of my favorite moments. Least favorite moments, trying to figure out how to put a mic on a cab and make it sound good, even though the weather's different or the room's different. Oh my gosh, I feel like we've had how many hours have we spent?
We've spent
just
so much time
getting the mic set the way we want it on the.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's that. And then we had to change. So we would finally, let's say that we got something dialed in for this day, this week of that, with this amp and all that stuff. And it's just like, ooh, that sounds great. And then we would come and like, normally we would record like 2 or 3 episodes in a session. Sometimes one. Yeah. So sometimes we would just hang out and say, we'll just do it next week. But you would get it all set. You would get your all the presets and our DAW and all that stuff, and it's just like, oh man, that sounds awesome. Exact same thing the next week, and like, this is crap. What? So I spent so much time.
Oh man!
And then I handed it off to you, and you spent so much time. And it's just like, why?
Yeah.
Why is this so finicky? And then it's like, oh, let's move to a new place.
Yep.
In a new situation with different neighbors who are either more or less cool about it. And all this stuff's happening,
Yeah. Which
But
that's crazy.
I
In the
learned a
course
lot.
of a year, you've moved twice since we started
Yeah.
the podcast. I've moved once. You've gotten married,
Married, job.
different job. I've switched. Well, I never ever have a job, and I'm not going to try to now. But different things happening. It's pretty wild to think about. Even just having from a year ago when our first episode came out, which was the first week of February, I think, last
I'm
year,
not actually sure.
something like that.
I'm about to look that up.
Because I think January was all of our trial runs. We were trying to figure out, like, okay, how should we do this?
January 31st, 2017.
There you go.
Yep.
It would have been more fitting if we did this episode on January 31st.
Yeah, probably, but oh well.
Yeah, but oh well. Here we are. It's March 1st. Oh my gosh, it's March 1st.
It is March 1st.
I got to pay my bills. I'm glad you said that. Anyways, it's pretty crazy to think about. Not only have our rigs changed, but pretty much our whole lives have changed in the course of a year. 12 months, which is not really that long.
It's not long
But it
enough for
seems
as
like
much
a
to
long-
happen as it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, is it gonna slow down or am I gonna keep going?
Is
at
this
this
just-
pace? I
is
can't
this it?
go at this pace very long. I can't do that very much longer.
Oh.
All right, in my notes, I'm gonna make sure that I don't have. Oh, where did that note go? Wait for it. Wait for it. Okay. So we never got to do a live episode. I really wanted to go to like District House or something.
And just, invite some people. Maybe when we come back, that'll be what we do.
And just live episode.
Our 10-year reunion.
So I have a list of some people to thank.
Okay, let's go through it. I'll double check it.
First of all, some corporations who've helped us out. Lawrence Petros Designs,
Absolutely.
Lightning Boy Audio, thanks for the thing.
Oh, yeah. The, what was, that was the Thunder...
Knob?
It was, I can't remember if the pedal was called the Thunder Knob or the knob was called the Thunder Knob.
Are we going to have a deleted scene at the end?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Good. Because I that's where we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Lollygagger FX.
Oh, Lollygagger, absolutely.
I'm just, hey guys, maybe if you send us that fuzz you're working on, we might do a revival app. Because, oh my word, that thing sounded insane on Instagram.
Yeah.
Several folks at Walrus Audio
Oh, yeah.
here and there have gotten us some help.
Yep.
Some folks at Keeley.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, the Caverns. That was a great episode.
The Caverns, yeah.
Another one of discovery.
Charlie Palo.
Yeah.
Thanks for sending us in some stuff.
The-
keep doing
Was
what
that
you're
the
doing, man.
Bloodstone?
The Obsidian and the Bloodstone.
Obsidian and the Bloodstone, yeah.
Yep. He sent me a pedal for my wedding.
No
as
kidding.
a gift.
That's awesome.
And then Tim from Ramble.
Oh, dude.
You're amazing.
Your ears are golden.
Golden.
The Marvel Drive blows my mind still to this day.
Yeah.
And honestly, we did a Twin Bender episode.
We did, and that was killer.
It's
too.
awesome.
Amazing fuzz.
Yeah.
And now for some people who've loaned us stuff, and feel free to add in here.
Okay.
Spencer Powers,
Yes.
Josh Evans,
Yes.
Cody Pruitt,
Oh, yeah.
Stephen Thorne.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Dean lent us that Stellar Drive that was like an unofficial part of an episode and one of my favorite pedals.
Oh, yeah. That thing
ever
sounded
played.
amazing. Was that the Dig episode, I think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tim Davidson,
Yes.
That-
the PRS.
PRS. And then last, but certainly not least,
Well, I think we also had John McCall was on a few episodes.
John McCall was, I think, the only guest we ever had to play an instrument.
Yeah. And then we had, I'm trying to think of guitars maybe. I know we borrowed Matt Northam's Strat.
We did
Plus.
the Strat Plus.
Other than that, though, I also think we had Alex Dean's Les Paul for an episode, maybe one episode after I had set it up.
Maybe.
I can't remember.
There's just one more person that's coming to my mind.
But there is a very important person.
Who is the unofficial producer,
manager,
director,
accountant,
band mom, and that's the Jared.
The Jared.
One of our best friends.
Oh.
The purveyor of all things good in tone. And he has blessed us with many riches.
Oh. He loaned us pedals. He
bought us pedals just for the podcast and then sold them. Yeah. He bought us the Haunt Fuzz.
Oh, yeah.
For the giveaway.
Yes.
I think we could probably say that the podcast would not have... We wouldn't have had half the stuff we had if it was not for...
No. He let us borrow his basses.
The Cowers.
And
the P-basses,
and I think the P-bass.
And the stalls. And
the stalls.
Went to the church to set up for some sound stuff.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway, thanks, Jared.
That was the best. And he's the best.
He is the best.
And you can follow him at...
Jepling12.
Jepling12. There you go.
Jepling12 on Insta.
Jepling12.
Should we call him and ask for a
Let's see.
Closing prayer for the funeral? And if we think of anything else we want to say, then we can. I'm following the flow. Is that on speakerphone?
Hey, man.
Hey, this is a Rotator episode, and
What's going on, Rotator? All you tater heads.
And we're coming to the closing of our sabbatical funeral episode, and we wanted to know if you wanted to maybe say a little prayer or give some advice to all of our listeners. We were just talking about how the show wouldn't have happened if you weren't involved.
Yeah. I blame the death of this on one thing, and that's called the Helix.
Oh, spoiler alert.
We
weren't going to talk about that.
That was
Jared.
Perfect. That was I cannot think of a better segue.
Minister Jared, would you mind leading us in a closing prayer as we lay our good friend Rotator to rest?
Yep. And forgive me for being sacrilegious.
Wait. Hey, just start it with Heavenly Fender.
Okay. Heavenly Fender, we just thank you for the great times that we've had, for the dolphin noises we've had, for the great pedals, for the bad pedals, for the ones that these guys couldn't say were horrible, but were horrible, the ones that they said were great and were great. We thank you for Oklahoma City and just the pedal community that we have in Oklahoma City. So we just thank you for this day. We just ask ashes to ashes as fuzzes to fuzz. All right. See you guys.
Perfect. All right. Well, talk to you later.
See you.
Bye. Well, I guess the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah, Jared had a little bit of a spoiler.
I bought a Helix.
And after he bought one, I played it and then I bought one. and I haven't used my pedal board in a few months.
Oh, yeah, I haven't used mine since I got it. Well, I've used it for random stuff, but not consistently. It's not better, but it is easier.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds phenomenal.
Yep. If you take some time, I feel like if you take the time that we would take on one single pedal and just devote that to like a whole patch.
Oh, yeah.
My gosh, you're going to come up with some good stuff.
Some amazing stuff. And it's kind of like even, talking about pedal choices, amp choices, digital modeling, whatever. They're all there's so many options and there's so many ways to do everything, and it's like you just got to do what works best for you. You know what I mean? And if that's pedal board, amp, go for it. If it's amp and a multi-effects unit, go for it. If it's a modeling unit that's got everything built in, go for it. You know, it's just so easy with gigs to take this and plug my guitar in and be done with it. But I've enjoyed playing around with it, and probably in a year I'll be like, I'm going to go back to pedals for a while. Or, you know, who knows? That stuff.
You never know, man.
The way we go through gear, it just things are always changing.
We could be playing a different type of unit altogether here in a year.
Oh yeah, who
that
knows?
is neither modeling nor real. Oh, we could be doing some weird headspace kind of playing.
What?
I don't know, man. The future's nigh.
I'm glad we have that recorded, so when it happens, we can be like, oh yeah, we called that.
Called it. So anyway, Rotator the Pedal Party we're laying it to rest
Officially.
Mm-hmm. Maybe someday you'll hear from us again.
You never know.
Maybe we will be talking about that double helix.
Oh, the double helix. That's a good name for
It's
a
our
podcast.
DNA.
That would be pretty wild.
Double helix, tone is our DNA. Or something like that. I don't know.
Oh.
Or we might come up with a podcast where we don't have to set up or mix anything and we can just talk again, because those were fun.
That would be easier.
Also, best download counts we ever had were when we weren't playing the guitar. So
that's true.
maybe that's a sign, people.
But yeah, maybe people were like, quit playing so much and just keep talking.
Yep.
Well, you know, it's like they say, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Ooh, wow.
So we're killing it.
Yeah, let's kill it. We want to thank you for listening, for the encouragement.
Oh, yes, for the community. It's been great. It's been awesome. And, you know, that's it. We're still alive. So if you want to contact us through social media, hit us up.
Yep.
And we'd still love to talk pedals and gear and guitars and all that sort of stuff. But you will not be hearing a podcast pop up anytime soon.
Nope. So, for the last time, I'm Chance.
And I'm Kogan.
And this was
Rotator, the Pedal Party. Is this where we play taps?
Yes, this is where we...
Do we start with Amazing Grace?
Let's take off our hats and pause for an eternal moment of silence on this feed.